Let's see. So I am reading. This is the beginning of session 9.2. And let's see. So I want to go through some of the habits that you can do to study using the resources that we have with MindTap. And it's going to help you build some study skills whenever you're having to use resources similar to this later on. I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I have to stop. So let's see. I just want to show you something, but I might not need to. We'll wait and see if I need to. Okay, so I'm reading this about introducing objects. Now I do have my pen and paper on hand, but like I said, one of the things yesterday you can do if you want to just read and then highlight the areas to help you make a note of it. For example, it talks about object properties and methods. And the reason I highlighted this portion right here, it gives an example of what an object and a property and a method is. An object is a video. The properties are the height and the width, and the method, such as playing or pausing the video. So it goes on talking about JavaScript as an object-based language. It manipulates an object by changing one or more of its properties. So I would highlight on that as well. By applying a method that affects the object's behavior within the web page or browser. So there are 4 kinds of JavaScript objects. There's built-in objects that are intrinsic to the JavaScript language, browser objects that are part of the browser, document objects that are part of the web document, and customized objects that are created by the programmer. So I would highlight that. So browser objects and document objects are organized in a hierarchy structures respectively. So there's a browser object model, which we didn't talk about yesterday, and document object model. So this is the browser object model. What we talked about yesterday was a document object model. Let's see. So it talks about the things that are contained within the window object. It has the document object containing objects found on the web page document. History object containing the browser's history. Screen object containing information about a computer screen. The navigator object containing information about the browser application. And the location object containing information about the current URL. So it talks about how objects might be nested within other objects. It's important to note that the document objects can be referenced only after the browser has finished parsing the page content. So any command that references a document object before the browser has parsed the HTML code will result in an error because those objects do not yet reside in memory. So to ensure that an object can be referenced within a JavaScript program, we apply the defer attribute, which is one of the things that we practiced yesterday, to the script element so that this JavaScript code is run only after the page is completely loaded. So I'm going to open up this. So remember in the example we did yesterday, right above the closing header, if I remember right, we did the open caret script source equals, it was like tiny clock.js, something like that, defer, and then we had the closing script. So this word defer, what that does is it tells the browser, it's like, hey, wait, hold up, just wait a second before you start running this because we need to get everything uploaded before some of the stuff will work. So just says, hold up. defer, like our student loan payments, defer. So let's go on to the next page. I think that was all on that page. I tend to forget, yeah, to scroll down all the way on these. So I would highlight, this as here as well. So object references says each object within the hierarchy is referenced by its object name. So it says window, document, or navigator. But every object aside from window object is nested within another object. So it says every object aside from window object is nested. So if you go look in here, the window's the very top. So there's nothing the window is nested in. It's the top mama. So because every object aside from window object is nested. So what you could do here is like that's figure 912. You can make a note, add note, see figure 912 or diagram. Okay. Let's see. So let's go down here to the example. So you have window.document.images. So let's go back to 912 again. So you have the window, your browser window. Then you have the document, and the document is the HTML file, for example. It has images. Yeah, there it is, images. That's in there. One of the many things that's in there. You do not, then it says you do not always have to use a complete reference detailing the entire object hierarchy. So by default, JavaScript will assume that the object references point to the current browser window. So you can refer to the images object in the current browser window using the word expression document. So what it's saying here is window, it's assumed we're going to be talking about this particular window. All right. That's just the assumption. And it's usually the correct assumption. We're just talking about this window. So that's a given. So we don't need to type it. We know that's talking about this window. Now the document, we're telling it to look in the document and to look in the images. So that's when we need to give it some instruction in the path, in the file path. So referencing object collections says objects are organized into groups called object collections. So the following object references document images. My battery's getting low. References all the inline images in the document marked with the image tag. So looking at this figure 913 describes some of the object collections found within the document object model. So document anchors, document applets, document embeds. If you look on this page right here, it gives you that example. And this might be a way that you can use the full book. Let's try something real quick. So let's look at the full book. And we're going to look for figure 912. So let's go ahead and go back to the page instead of having to go back and forth. Let's go to the full book and search figure 9-12. I don't know if this works. I haven't tried it. I think, yeah, that should be it. Maybe. Should go to it. Just being slow or what? Yeah. Okay, let's do it this way. 9, 12. Nope, it's a little bit too far. Okay, so almost there. Almost there. Almost there. Are we here now? Yes, okay. So this is the way you can use like the full book. You can only do the highlighting and notes in this view, like right here. Okay, this is where you do the highlighting and notes. But instead of going back and forth between two different pages, you can open up the full book on the side and, you know, go to the one that you're actually reading on. So document object collections. So there's the object collection and what it does, references. So document anchors. So again, the window, we don't have to state it because it's a given. We just say document dot anchors. It says all elements marked with an A tag. Then there's applets, and then there's the rest of them that you can see. Okay, and so let's go down a little bit more. To reference a specific member of an object, you can use either collection, IDREF, or this. Oh, IDREF. Okay, I was like, what else? IDREF. So where collection is a reference to the object collection, and IDREF. So that what that is that's not IDREF. That's IDREF. And you'll see where ID is used and what it means by that. Where a collection is a reference to the object collection, and the ID ref is either an index number representing the position of the object in the collection or the value of the ID attribute assigned to the element. The first object in the collection has an index number of 0 with the subsequent objects given index numbers of 0, 1, or 1, 2, 3, and so on. So yeah, I would highlight this. I'm just going to add a note on here. So I'm going to add a note, and starting with a 0. And computer code, everything starts with the number 0. Let's see. So we have the image source, and remember we did that in the homework last week. We have an image. We're saying the source of it is the name of the file, and the ID we're giving it is logo image. And notice that it's doing camel casing and the uppercase I. So just be aware of that, because that is going to matter. So it says you can reference that image using any of the following expressions. So you can reference it by using the word document. Again, the window's a given. We just have to reference the word document. And shoot, what did I do? Oh, okay. And images, and then you can do, looks like square brackets in parentheses, the name of the image, or just the name of the image after a dot. So object collections can also be based on a tag names using the expression. So document. So again, we're referring to the document. Get element by tag name. So we're getting the element by the tag name. Okay. So where tag is the name of the HTML element. HTML element. So document, again, we're given it's a document, and we're getting this element by what the tag name is. So that could be like the H1 tags. So we can put in examples of tags are H1, P, H2, any of them. So we just, as a reminder, put that in there. Let's see. So whenever we say document, gets element by tag name. So whatever that tag, and this one is H1, returns an object collection of all the H1 elements. So if we had multiple headings, H1s, then within the current document, it would get them all. Okay, and this line right here, where we're saying document, get element by tag name of H1, 0. And remember, 0 is the very first one. We're just calling the first one. So I don't know if I can make a note there. I don't think so. Let's see. Let's make a note here. Add a note of indicating 0 tells the browser to only look for the first time H1 appears. If we did 1 instead of 0, it would look for the second time. And so on and so forth. So object collections can also be formed from an HTML elements belonging to the same class by using the expression class. So here we use get element by tag name, and here we're starting to look by the class name. So document, again, like right here, get element. So you see that's the same thing as up here, get element by, get element by. This here we're looking for tag name, this here we're looking for class name. So, and class, I don't want to copy that yet, where class is a value of the class attribute from the HTML document. We haven't done that in the HTML part of our classes yet. We should next week though, if not tomorrow. So where class is the value of the class attribute. And we actually give class names. So I'm going to make a note. The developers make up their own class names. So document, again, document here, get element by, and the class name would be new group. That's the name that we gave it. So it returns a collection of all the elements that contain the attribute of a class of new group. Because there's no distinction between HTML elements in this expression, the object collection might contain elements with different tag names, as long as they all share a common value for the class attribute. Let's see, hold on. Okay. So we got document.get element by name. Okay, finally, you can create references to objects by the value of their name. So again, you'll notice like everything on all three of these are the exact same thing. Document, get element by. So we can pick and choose what we want to call it by. Do we want to call it by their tag, like the H1? Do we want to call it by their class name? Or do we want to call it by name. So name is the value of the name attribute associated with the element. So it talks about how that more than one element can share the same name, such as a radio button. It returns an object collection rather than a single object. Okay. Let's go to this page. So it's referencing an object by ID and name. So one of the problems with object collections is that JavaScript will have to search through the entire collection to locate a specific item. If the object collection is large, this can be a time-consuming task and slow down the program. Another more efficient approach is to reference to an element by its ID attribute using the expression. So we use document get element by. Again, that's the same thing as the ones we've been doing, where ID is the value of the ID attribute. So we do document get element by ID, and the ID we used was date now. Let's see. Note that only one object is returned, not a collection, because each ID value is unique within an HTML document. So IDs, you can only have one ID per an HTML document. Classes you can use multiple times. IDs are unique, have to be unique. So let's make a note on that here. Let's see. Let's see, put it this way. IDs have to be uniquely named. Class names can be used multiple times. IDs have to be uniquely named in one HTML document. So class names can be used multiple times in an HTML document. So to reference an object as part of the collection in a document, use either collection ID ref or collection ID ref. Let's see. So ID ref is either an index number representing the position, or am I repeating myself here? I don't think so. Okay. To reference a collection of elements based on the tag name, use document get element by tag name, where tag is the name of the element tag. So you can just keep making notes on here. Is the okay. To reference a collection of elements based on the value of the class, you would put the name of the class where it says, get element by class name. So there we make a note of, just as a reminder, can use a class name multiple times in same document. And go to ID. Let's see what add flashcards does. I don't know. My battery's about to go die. So key term is ID. That's what it does. You can make it if you want it. ID is the ID. You can put also in there, IDs must be unique. Can only be used once in a document. Okay. So, yeah, that's interesting. That's cool. Okay, now how do I get out of it? There we go. So that's another way you can use this tool. This is a neat tool. You just got to take the time to sit down with it, which unfortunately with class being so fast paced, it's hard to do that in class. And my battery's getting ready to die, as you can see. I'm not going to plug it in. But I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and hopefully this helps kind of help how to use this tool so that you can learn. No. Hello?